Welcome, Algebra. We are going to go over our 10-1 worksheet, and then we're going to start lesson 10-2. So here's the basis for our lesson 10-2. We are going to talk about subtraction. So 10 minus 3 turns into, remember, 10 plus negative 3. And so we're going to think about our subtraction of our polynomials in the same way. You'll notice when we talked about addition, we talked about adding our like terms together. And one of the ways that we could have done that, which we didn't talk too much about, is by grouping things together. And we didn't talk a lot about that, but we could have grouped them by term. So like 3y plus negative 4y, we could have grouped that together and then added them together. We kind of did that when we did the shape around it. So in this case, we would have done a 3y and a minus 4y, and then we would have done that and so on. So kind of the same thing. So if I did this, this is called grouping them together and combining like terms. We kind of do that naturally when we do the shape around it. Okay, so what would I get here? 1y cubed plus 2y cubed would give me 3y cubed, right? And then here, my 3y plus my negative 4y, which comes from this up here, okay, that would give me what? Oops, I'm sorry. Negative 1y, right? Do I have anything to combine with my 4y squared? Nope. Pull that down. And then my negative 5 plus 8 would give me plus 3. Okay, so if I combine all that together, that's what I would get. And so I can rewrite it like this if I wanted to by grouping and then combining like terms, or I can put shapes around them like I did in the last lesson, okay? Another way that we could do this is align and add. So I take my first polynomial, and I write it in order of my exponents. So that first one, I would take my y third, and I would put it, there's not a y squared term, so I would put a 0y squared there, my 3y plus my negative 5. And then the other one that I have is 2y cubed, the other polynomial that I had, 2y cubed plus 4y squared minus 4y plus 8. And now I can add those together going down. So this is just another method to combine our like terms. And honestly, I prefer you do this one because it will be much easier as we go and we get larger polynomials and things. So when I add this together, I still get 3y cubed, because there's still an imaginary 1 here. I still get that 4y squared, because we really want our numbers to be in order, our exponents to be order. I still get my minus 4y here, and I still get my plus 3. Much better organized, much better math. This right here is my preferred method to solve these. So let's look at solving some of these. Oh, wait, what if I've got a negative in front of here? A negative always makes everything opposite, right? So this makes things opposite. And I need to distribute this one in. And I need to think very closely about how I do this, okay? So this negative 3 is going to change my 2x squared to what? Negative 6x squared. And my negative 3, I'm going to go on top instead, is going to give this x, it's going to change it to negative 3x. And then this negative 3 is going to change this 5 to minus 15. So you'll notice that the sign of all three of these changed. They also went up by 3, right? What about my negative 2? What am I going to get there? Negative 8x squared. Negative 2 times negative 2 is going to give me negative 4x. Negative 2 times 1 is going to give me negative 2. All right. So what about if I just have a negative 1 in front of there? Just an imaginary negative 1. What's going to happen? Well, the things are still going to change. It's just going to stay the same coefficient. So negative 7x squared. Negative 1 times negative 3 is going to give me positive 3x. And I saw an error up here that I made. This is going to be plus. Negative 2 times negative 2 is going to be positive 4. All right, my negative 1 times my 2 is then going to make that negative 2. All right, so we need to keep that in mind as we're doing these problems. Here's why. This minus sign out here is like having a negative 1 in front of all this. So that negative 1 is going to change the sign of all of my things. So I'm going to make that purple instead. So there's a negative 1 out here. And so that's going to change the sign of all of my numbers. All right. So if I were going to group this, I'm going to do my group and combine like terms first. I would have, let's see, my x squared's got to go first. 2x squared. What do I have over here? Well, over here, because of this, I have to change the sign of all of these here, right? Sorry. And so then I'm going to have a minus 3x squared. Okay? Then I should have made those green. Did I make those green yet? I think I can. I don't want to do that. So I've got those combined now that they're green. Okay. So now my next term would be blue because it's my x term. I'm going to add these things together. And what do I have in blue? I've got a minus 2x. And I've got now a minus 4x. So I want to combine these well. Okay. And then my next term I've got is my constant, and it's red. And I'm going to take my 3 and I'm going to combine it with my positive 5, my now positive 5. When I combine these, I have to do this distribution of this negative 1 first. Okay? Now I can combine those together. 2x squared minus 3x squared gives me x squared. It's going to be positive or negative. It's going to be negative. Okay? Negative 2x plus negative 4x gives me negative 6x. And 3 plus 5 gives me 8. So that is how I would do this if I were grouping and combining like terms. If I were going to do a line and add, if I was doing a line and add, I would then write those again, okay? And I would make sure that I write them in order. So 2x squared minus 2x plus 3, okay? Then my other term underneath that, well, I would have my positive 5 change to a positive 5, right? Okay, I would have my minus 4x underneath here. And what was my x squared term? Negative 3x squared. And I'm going to add those together because I always want to do addition. And the only way that I can do addition is if I distribute that -1 into all my terms. So, again, I'm still going to get negative x squared. I'm still going to get negative 6x. And I'm still going to get 8. Aligning and adding is a better way to do this. You can do what you need, but both of these are correct. Now, if you would have wrote this down in the order that it was in the original problem, like 3 minus 2x plus 2x squared, and then underneath that, you would align your -5, or your +5 underneath that, your 4x underneath your 2x, and your negative 3x squared underneath your 2x squared. If your order was different, that's okay. We just like to have our x squared term first, and then our x, and then our constant, because it puts it into that quadratic form. Okay, let's look at another one. So if I'm looking at number 1 example here, my first step is going to be to take care of this. So I want to distribute this in, and I want to change the sign of everything inside. Okay? That changes this into a plus sign. And now I'm going to align and add. Okay? So I've got a negative 3p squared. Where's that going to go? Oh, wait a second. There's not a p squared here. What do I do now? Well, I guess I could put it in the front because there isn't a squared term. All right, is there a p term? Yeah, 9p, positive 9p. So plus 9p goes underneath my 7p. Do I have a p cubed term? No. So I'm going to put a plus 0p cubed there just to hold the place. And I have a -2, so I'm going to put a -2 under there. All right, now I need to add this together. Okay, is there any other p squared term above this? Nope. So I'm going to have -3p squared. 7 plus 9 is 16. So I'm going to have plus 16p. Plus 4p cubed, because 4 plus 0 is 4. And then -8 plus -2 gives me -10. Now, theoretically, I'd want this in front, but it's okay. I'll take that. Okay? We're going to do the next 2 examples during class. So, be ready. God bless.